Hello everyone and welcome back to this humble abode of gameplay and memes. As you may or may not know, depending on whether you were watching my Twitch streams or not, link in the description, I am quite an enthusiastic Supreme Commander player, in particular the Forged Alliance version, played on the Forged Alliance Forever client. So, from this day on, you can definitely expect more Supreme Commander videos being uploaded to this channel, be it in the forms of casts or live gameplays or even some guides and tips. Who knows what's going to happen. Anyway, today I've got a wonderful cast here for you on this map called Syrtis Assault. This is basically a slightly more crowded version of the map Syrtis Major, which has been in Supreme Commander basically since its inception. This version of the map has got a almost 90,000 reclaim on it, as you can see in the top left corner. So plenty to go around, plenty for every player to collect, and we'll see whether or not they may put it to good use, which they definitely should considering the rankings. Anyway, let's go ahead and start introducing our players, starting from Team 1. In the green corner, we've got Black Phoenix at 1300 rank points, playing Seraphim in Royal Purple, going first land, and then no doubt will be going for a swift hydrocarbon power plant rush, which is what you've got exactly next to your base. I'm pretty sure every player in this game has that, so yes, you can definitely expect most players to go here, except we immediately see that no, this is not quite right, because the next player standing right next to Black Phoenix is Ayahuascarist. I have no idea how to pronounce that, so sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. In Lurid Green, at 1400 rank points, playing UEF, and also going first land, then 2 power generators, and only then, most likely, will be going for that hydrocarbon power plant rush. I will, if you don't know, I will explain why people go for a rush for the fastest hydrocarbon power plant possible. It's a very efficient thing. I will explain a little bit later. Meanwhile, in the middle slot for Team 1, we've got Robogear, one of the top-ranked players in this particular match. He's tied with the other 2 players on his team that we haven't introduced yet, at 2000 rank points, playing as Cybran in Elephantine Green, going first land. And then no doubt we'll be going for the Hydro Rush as well. I should probably stop repeating that last bit because everybody knows it by now. Moving further towards the north, we've got ourselves Battlefront, playing a Seraphim at 2000 rank points also, like I said before, in this brickish, brownish orange, going first land. And last but not least for Team 1, we've got ourselves Rezy-Noob, also known as Resistance from what I've been hearing. Playing Cybran in Baby Blue at 2000 rank points and also going first land. And then also not going for the immediate Hydro Rush, but instead opting for some extra power generators first. Moving on to the southern side of the map, in the purple corner, we've got Terarii at 1600 rank points, playing Aeon in Dijon Yellow, going first land and building it as close to the hydrocarbon spot as possible, as close as the commander's build range allows. And next up, moving towards the south, we've got Robustness, playing Seraphim in Haliborin George, 1700 rank points, going first land as well as pretty much everyone else in this game, so I probably should stop repeating that too. In the middle position, we've got MSG, quite a good player from what I've seen, but maybe not quite a match for Robogear, but you know, we'll see how this game turns out. Don't want to spoil anything, so don't mind those comments yet. At 1700 rank points, yes, playing Cybran in Vivacious Violet, going first land, and then immediately already has those mass extractors queued up, and then moving towards the middle, letting the engineers build the hydro by themselves without the help of the commander. Further still towards the south, we've got ourselves Lyuker at 1800 rank points, playing UEF in beautiful Pontiff White, also going first land, and for now going for 1 power generator before building a few additional mass extractors and then helping with finishing the hydro plant. At least so it would seem for now. And last but not least, for this particular match, we've got ourselves Castaway. Playing at 1700 rank points, playing Seraphim in one of my favorite colors, Ferrari Red. Going first land and then also not rushing the Hydro too hard, opting for a few extra power generators instead. So clearly, while the Hydro rush with just mass extractors seems to be the more popular choice in this map, we'll see how exactly that impacts the game. And whether or not one of these builds succeeds while the other fails, or if they perform equally regardless. So yes, as expected, all of the first engineers from pretty much every player going for the Hydro first. Some interesting building patterns queued up here, going for as many power generators as possible for extra adjacency to the air factories that will no doubt grow within those rings of power generators. This is what MSG is doing. Meanwhile, others didn't go quite as ham for building power, as you can clearly see. For example, Rezy is opting for 4 extra power generators besides the Hydro, then proceeding to build the air factory. But no other surprises so far. We can already see some advancements being made. Already some dirty tricks performed by people. For example, right here, we can see this one combat scout of the Seraphim activating its stealth and cloaking and sitting on top of the mass extractor spot, which will prevent enemy engineers from building mass extractors here. There is of course a counter to this trick. You can basically, if your engineer approaches the spot, it can push the scout off and then start building. I think there's also a way to reclaim the scout, even if it's invisible, but not entirely sure about that. Robogear already taking some serious damage from the turrets. I guess he wanted to check if the turrets were still there with his face or something like that. Can't really think of any other reason. All of the players, pretty much all of them, advancing to the middle plateaus, which is extremely important because, you know, there is plenty of value here for the players to reclaim. Besides all the rocks scattered about this map, which, by the way, you can clearly see, yes, the people are already reclaiming as hard as they can. Almost 10,000 by both teams already at just 4 minutes into the game. And it will only keep growing from there because there is still 67,000 in total on the map. Yes, but in addition to all of the rocks scattered about, there is also plenty of reclaim here in the middle, in the form of those power generators, agricultural centers, and even a quantum gateway. Theoretically, you could capture that for yourself, but most players opt to just destroy it and reclaim it instead. Artillery pieces, of course, being produced in order to counter the defending turrets. The point defense turrets at Tech 1 are, of course, no match for the artillery because they are quite simply outranged. This is a counter to your enemies building tons of point defense turrets. If you're having trouble overrunning or overwhelming those positions, just build some artillery pieces and there you go. The turrets can't do anything. Anyway, I was about to explain why it's so important to build a hydrocarbon power plant as fast as possible, and the reason is because it's basically extremely efficient. If you can take a look here, you can see that the hydrocarbon power plant costs 160 mass and produces 100 energy per second. Keep those numbers in mind for now, because if we take a look at the costs of a power generator, we can see that the generator costs 75, which is almost half as much, but only produces 20 power per second. So basically, the hydrocarbon power plant costs as much as 2 Tech 1 power generators, but has the energy output of 5. So you definitely want to claim that as quickly as possible. It will save you a lot of mass in the early game, in terms of building slightly less energy than you would otherwise have to. Yeah, so we got first major engagements in the middle here. Robogear already having completed the Tech 2 engineering suite, already installing some turrets. Tech 1, Tech 2 Cerberus turrets are of course not very effective in terms of their DPS, but yes, they do outrange all of the Tech 1 units and allow those, the commanders as well as your own Tech 1 units to claim more territory. As we're observing here, of course, the Cerberus turrets now gets destroyed because MSG here has got himself a gun upgrade, which allows him to quite easily destroy those turrets as long as there aren't too many of them. If there would be about 3 of them, then he would be in some serious trouble and would be probably forced to retreat. But for now, he's just staying there and trying to do as much damage as he can with his gun upgrade, which probably is going to pay off very shortly here, as long as he doesn't just die. Also, yes, commander upgrades going on all around the map. You can see we've got gun here, we've got gun down there, from both Robustness and Castaway. Meanwhile, Rezy, Black Phoenix, and some other people like Robustness have already completed their own upgrades and are now engaging in all sorts of activities such as constructing Tech 2-point defense turrets or just shooting rampantly. You can see here, Battlefront is actually at a disadvantage versus Robustness because, yes, Robustness has a gun upgrade here, while Battlefront has not only no upgrades to speak of, but also no Tech 2 engineers. So he's going to have some serious trouble protecting himself for now. Robustness doesn't want to advance too far, however, because he's probably learned the hard way that if you advance too far, you can get very easily air sniped, and then you will cry. That's happened to me so many times I can't even tell you anymore. Lyuker, meanwhile, here needs to be extremely careful. His commander has no upgrades and is pushing into multiple Tech 2-point defense turrets. And it seems like Robogear's commander will now be chasing him down. And it looks as though he's in some serious trouble because Robogear's commander is extremely healthy at 10,000 health, while Lyuker is about to drop here below 2,000. Already, yes, 1,700, dropping even lower and lower by the minute. I feel like Robogear will not let him go and will destroy him. Robogear, meanwhile, asking for energy in order to make sure that he has enough energy to overcharge, and there you go. And that is the death of Lyuker. And meanwhile here, we should also be extremely careful here because Castaway is about to meet the exact same fate. There we go. Black Phoenix eliminating Castaway. Yes, a 1300 rated player eliminating a 1700 rated player. Now this map was of course played as full share, as most high skill games go for now. So you can clearly see that, you know, the properties of the dead players have now been transferred to someone else. For example, here you can see that Lyuker's base has been transferred to MSG, and Castaway's base has been transferred to Terarii, who is, I'm not entirely sure if Terarii is going to micro that properly considering he's on the other side of the world, but we'll see yet if he succeeds or not. Stealth upgrade going up for MSG. More and more upgrades for other commanders as well. For example, Battlefront has already completed himself a gun upgrade and is now going for Tech 2, which is not the most optimal way to upgrade them, to say the least. Usually you want to upgrade if you know you're going to get both gun and Tech 2, it's better to get Tech 2 first because that will make your gun upgrade faster. Since Tech 2 and Tech 3 engineering suite on your commander also increase the build rate of the commander, allowing it to build everything faster, including its own upgrades. The upgrade parity, I would say, has been achieved here by Robustness, who is now also upgraded with both Tech 2 and gun, can quite easily defend this position as long as Battlefront doesn't bring his own commander to bear. And this situation here is really awkward to observe, because both Robustness and Battlefront are orange, and it can be quite hard to tell whether or not which one of them is the which. For example, right now, yes, we can see clearly that this one artillery piece was, belonged to Battlefront. But if there is a massive push that will be about to happen, with tons of spam on both sides, it will be virtually impossible to tell who is who, because they are also both Seraphim. Just to add insult to injury, you know. Supreme Commander forged alliance forever, making Caster's life miserable since, what was it, 2012, 2010? I actually have no idea when it was first introduced. And yes, that is exactly what is happening right now. Like you can see, a massive push. Battlefront is trying to throw all the units at Robustness in order to hopefully establish himself his own position here with those Utoshala point defense turrets. At least I think it should be pronounced Utoshala. If you have very strong opinions on that, please let me know in the comment section below. However, Robustness is of course resisting the invasion with his own Utoshala turrets as well as Tech 1-point defense turrets, and is now constructing shield generators to ensure that this position is not so easily broken. I think there were some planes landing out from Battlefront that got immediately killed by the Otoshla turrets. The commander of Robustness is now under fire, but is no longer under threat because, yes, the shields are going up. I am sure he will construct another shield very soon. And I feel like Battlefront is really pushing his luck here by advancing so far. An Alpha Bomber comes out from the... well, this is from Robustness, actually. Yes, an Alpha Bomber. It won't do much, because I think it's about... well, it's about to get a second pass here on the commander, except not really, because it was apparently too close. So the bomber will basically do nothing, and Battlefront escapes with his life for now, having dropped all the way down to 2,000 health. In the meantime, let's take a look at the players' economies, and we can clearly see that Team 1 is currently ahead, which is kind of to be expected because, you know, they've got 5 players between them, so they've got more actions per minute, or APM, to spare, which will allow them to upgrade their mass extractors as well as their troops more efficiently. So in terms of the air game, yes, we've got Tech 2 air achieved by Robustness, almost advancing, yes, having successfully advanced to Tech 3 air. The same thing actually happening with MSG as well, except interestingly enough, instead of his own Cybran air factory, he chose to upgrade the UEF air factory of Lyuker to Tech 3 instead. Yes, now he has produced his first Tech 3 power generator, so he can start making those Tech 3 airplanes no problem. On the other side of the world, there should be a very similar situation. Yes, we've got the Tech 2 air factory HQ of Ayahuasca upgrading to Tech 3 as we speak. No surprises there. Any more Tech 3 air from anyone? Well, definitely not from Black Phoenix. Nothing from... yes, nothing from Rezy, it seems. However, it should be noted that Rezy is currently... well, yes, he has a Tech 2 air factory HQ, and he has also successfully upgraded his land headquarters to Tech 3 instead. So now he will start pumping out those delicious bricks. Delicious in a sense that look at how thick they are. Look at how much health they've got. 7,500 health on this absolute unit. And it's an absolute machine of destruction as well. The only problem is, of course, being its abysmal speed. But, you know, you have to balance this game out somehow. Can't put all the nice things on one unit. Well, I mean, besides the notorious Seraphim artillery, of course. Everything else is not quite as broken. Alright, we've got the first strategic bomber, an ambassador, out from MSG. Destroying Tech 2 mass extractors already has killed 2,600 worth of mass and will kill more right here. Destroys a power generator, an extremely important building. I'm pretty sure Battlefront only had one, from what I'm seeing. Another mass extractor goes down. The bomber is now, if I can... yes, the bomber now has itself 6,000 mass killed. And I feel like it will kill even more here in a second, as long as it's allowed to. Yes, of course, it's allowed to drop another bomb. Destroys 2 power generators, completely annihilates the power supply of Ayahuasca, but yes, now it's finally shot down. And there is also a SAM launcher here, so now it's going to be a little bit tougher for them to actually advance and destroy even more mass extractors, because yes, now they're securing the perimeters with anti-air turrets. And those will make it a lot harder for the bombers to fly around. A stealth generator being produced by Robustness meanwhile. And you can see that from the point of view of Battlefront, yes indeed, he can't see those Otoshla turrets, so his own turrets can't shoot at these. A very nice plan out from Robustness here. So a lot of people underestimate the power of stealth generators, but you know, if your enemy isn't paying attention, if they aren't scouting, and suddenly you've got 4 Otoshla turrets in their faces, then, you know, that could win you the fire-based war, where you would have probably lost it, because of the enemy artillery right here. Of course, the shields aren't eternal too, and if more artillery approaches out from Rezy, the Robustness' base will probably get run over, or overrun, but for now, it looks like everything is cool. Ayahuasca is really salty about the fact that people won't let him pause. Please don't be like those people, my dudes, my dear viewers, whoever is watching, please let other people pause and do their own stuff. It doesn't take that long, you know. MSG is saying drop. Apparently there is an airdrop happening somewhere. Sure wish I saw that as well, but it looks like maybe he was telling someone else to drop. Or maybe there was an airdrop here. It's hard to tell by now. Oh, okay, yes, there's an airdrop out from Rezy, actually dropping bricks into the base of Terarii. Terarii is in some serious trouble, unless he can come up with the solution right now. Like Mercies, for example, if he has those, but it doesn't look like it. He only has a Tech 3 land HQ, which is currently not producing anything as the bricks are rampaging through the area, destroying tactical missile defense units, mass extractors, and everything else in their path. Those really need to be dealt with, and dealt with pronto. I suppose MSG could have used his ambassador to kill those, but for now those bricks are paying for themselves quite well, with one of them already having almost 8,000 mass killed. The artillery war in the middle continues, just like it was on the northern side. The bunkers of MSG and Ayahuasca shooting at each other with those massive thick artillery cannons. Actually, those aren't artillery. I don't even see any artillery from Team 1 here. Just the two commanders and a bunch of turrets. It looks like they are about to give up on this position. Interestingly enough, still no one having reclaimed this Aeon Agricultural Center. Bruh. I wonder if they felt bad for destroying civilians like that, or if they just not paying attention anymore. It can be hard to say sometimes. A bouncer out from Rezy, for some reason walking into the middle of Robustness' base, and getting zapped and fried to pieces for its trouble. The bricks looking on in horror and deciding to withdraw, or at least, you know, take a small step back in order to ensure they don't suffer the same fate. Meanwhile, Black Phoenix here on the southeastern flank has been doing a great job pushing against the forces of Terarii, against the base that's been inherited by Terarii from the person that died, who was Castaway, right? Yes. The Ilshavos out from Terarii should probably put a stop to this push, because there are only Tech 1 units out from Black Phoenix here. But yes, he is doing an excellent job of occupying this southeastern corner, occupying all of the mass extractors. They can probably think about upgrading those to Tech 2 now, which is not what is happening right now. But who knows, maybe there might just not be enough mass extractors there. And El Chavo run by out from Terarii. Meanwhile, Terarii, not to be outdone, has sent his El Chavos against the factories of Black Phoenix. It looks like they will be stopped here though, because yes, they're being bombarded to pieces by the attack bombers of Ayahuasca, as well as now getting shot by the Tech 3 tanks out from Black Phoenix. Those brilliant Othum tanks that Russian players often refer to as slippers, you know, very lovingly. But you can't deny it, right? They do look like slippers. The slippers could now create some serious problems for both Terarii and MSG, as there doesn't seem to be any sort of counter to them right now. There are just some engineers, Tech 2 engineers, and Tech 2 assault bots, Ilshavos, but not much else. A missile launcher here out of Black Phoenix doing the Lord's work, already a 4-star veteran having over 5,000 mass killed. All of these delicious Tech 2 mass extractors made extremely juicy targets for the missile launcher, and I'm sure Black Phoenix is more than happy about that. The missile launcher having already paid off manifold. The brick troubles on the left side, on the western side, still continue, as the bricks are still pushing in, still destroying whatever they can get their sights trained on. They are being bombed by Tech 1 attack bombers, which could be quite effective because, you know, the bricks are only protected by one bouncer, and bouncers aren't exactly the best at dealing with Tech 1 units. However, it will still take those attack bombers a while to actually destroy the bricks, and meanwhile, the bricks will keep infinitely generating some additional value. Terarii's commander now wants to challenge those bricks, and it looks like, yes indeed, it will be successful, especially considering there is also a Galactic Colossus here. Yes, Terarii has managed to use his advanced economy thanks to inheriting the base of Castaway, and used all of that extra mass to construct a Galactic Colossus experimental assault bot. The Colossus already having destroyed those bricks, and will now keep walking forward. And I'm sure it's going to be an extremely nasty surprise for Team 1, as long as they aren't aware of its existence, which it looks like they are not. Yes, they're just talking about where the mass is and whatnot. Now they should have found out about the Colossus, because yes, now they definitely see it. Right there. Attack pings going out all over the place. And you know, this Galactic Colossus is actually quite in time here, because Robustness has been suffering against the combined forces of Ayahuasca and Battlefront, because Ayahuasca has now brought to bear the Ravager Tech 3-point defense turrets, which are excellent at breaking down those fire bases, because they do very large amounts of DPS and they outrange the Tech 2 PD turrets. So the Colossus could definitely turn this around. However, the problem is that there is currently a massive effort by 3 players to construct a Megalith experimental Megabot, one of the strongest land units in the entire game. And the Colossus, if the Colossus decides to advance further, will be in some serious trouble, because a Megalith combined with all the other forces will definitely be enough to repel it. Yes, Ayahuasca, Rezy, and Battlefront banding together to complete this Megalith as fast as possible, so it does not threaten this firebase, or indeed the commanders of the Team 1 players. Very nicely done indeed. In terms of the reclaim game, we can see that Team 1 is also super far ahead, thanks no doubt to their extra APM that they have due to, you know, having more players. Strategic bombers being now accumulated by MSG, no doubt preparing to air snipe somebody. The Galactic Colossus is walking away back towards the base of MSG for some reason. I suppose his intention might be to draw the Colossus all the way back to the southeast and ensure that, you know, that position holds, because there are now both Bricks and Tech 3 tanks advancing here, combined forces of Robogear and Black Phoenix advancing quite heavily. It looks like the strategic bombers of MSG will be enough to deal with those, though, so the Colossus should probably turn around and walk somewhere else, which is exactly what it's doing. The Megalith will of course knock down the firebase of Robustness. There is nothing left now, and the Megalith probably has no reason to stop, can just keep pushing here. It does get attacked by some defense turrets. As we're hearing more and more bombs drop off, I think these bombs, yes, these bombs are still aimed at the attacking forces of Robogear and Black Phoenix, so no surprises there. Now the bombers seem to be going for the Megalith. They might of course do some serious damage to it, but they need to watch out for those bouncers as well as the fighters of Battlefront, which are now on the tail of the bombers and will no doubt eliminate them all. Those bombers have of course paid off, but I am sure MSG isn't very happy about this particular outcome. The Colossus is now walking through the middle. Is Team 1 aware of it? No, they just see it as a random dot. They have no idea what that is. So they should be... I would be worried if I were them, but of course they aren't, because they might not realize the Colossus is right there. Now in terms of the economy, yes, Team 1 is super far ahead at 700 mass per second versus 500. Not even close. However, this Colossus might turn the tide, as long as it actually makes it somewhere. There is another Colossus out from Terarii now engaging the Megalith, and it feels like the Megalith will probably be killed here, because yeah, it already has less health than the Colossus, and the Megalith has less DPS by default. Now they finally realize the first Colossus is right next to the commanders of both Robogear and Ayahuasca. That does not bode well for them at all. The commanders are now running away. The Colossus, I'm not entirely sure if the Colossus knows where they are, but it will soon, because it is faster than the commanders and also has an omnisensor array. Yes, now it sees the commanders, and now I think the sights of that Colossus and of Terarii himself will be trained on the commanders. Of course, focusing Robogear's commander first, arguably the best player on Team 1, and now switching to Ayahuasca. Both of the commanders will be killed here with no hesitation whatsoever. So now the playing field has suddenly been leveled. Both teams having 3 players left over. And also there is now a Monkey Lord and the Galactic Colossus pushing together on the northwestern flank, which could create some additional problems for Team 1, because the Megalith has indeed been killed, is now free to reclaim that delicious 27,000 mass up for grabs. Yes, the double laser beams of the Colossus and the Monkey Lord incinerating everything in their path, doing the absolute Lord's work here. Lyuker is saying nice ping. He's probably talking about the fact that someone pinged out those commanders for the Colossus to attack. The Colossus will of course eventually go down. It has been, Terarii has been instructed to destroy as much of the enemy base as possible, because this game is being played as full share. So all of the mass extractors now go to another player, as well as the production facilities. But still, the damage has been done. You can clearly see that Team 2 is actually now ahead in terms of mass income, because of how much that one Galactic Colossus just did. It looks like the Monkey Lord... Yes, the Monkey Lord of MSG has been separated from the Colossus of Terarii. Now the Colossus will die because it's basically just alone against a Monkey Lord and a swarm of gunships out from Battlefront, so no, it will not do anything anymore. A sad life for the Colossus, but at least it had its moment of glory when it killed the opposing megalith. On the right flank, still the exact same situation going on, except now the army of Black Phoenix is being reinforced with snipers. I'm pretty sure I saw a sniper somewhere at least. I could be mistaken though. Let's actually see if we press Control L here. We can see that, yes, he has two snipers somewhere, okay? My point has been made. Meanwhile, the Monkey Lord of MSG, the one that got separated from the Colossus, is advancing against the megalith and against the base, against the Tech 3 land headquarters of Rezy. Actually just crushes the land headquarters underfoot and keeps advancing. The megalith losing a lot of health here. The Monkey Lord unfortunately stops focusing on it for some reason. Yes, you need to be focusing on the megalith the whole time. Kill on board Mega, because that's the most threatening thing around here. Of course, they can't do anything about those broadsword gunships because, you know, I'm sure Robustness wouldn't want to throw away all the air just to shoot a couple of those gunships down, because that is a very real possibility. Even if you kill the gunships, the fighters of your enemy, as well as all the SAM launchers in the area, could make short work of your fighters, so you should probably stay back in this situation. I think that is the correct call. A heavily damaged Monkey Lord out from Rezy has now been joined by this megalith that almost got incinerated, as well as a whole bunch of bouncers to ensure that no strategic bombers could threaten them. But we have missed it. Oh no! There has been a teleporter snipe by MSG, teleporting right next to the commander of Rezy and destroying him before promptly starting to teleport away. Yes, sorry for missing that telesnipe. I watched the cast below, so I actually knew this was gonna happen, and I still managed to miss it. Oh well, happens to everyone, I suppose. It looks like MSG is about to evacuate safely, except the gunships of formerly Rezy, and now... Wait, no, these gunships are from Battlefront, right? Are in pursuit. The commander manages to escape, but for some reason he runs into the base. So immediately, with a whole bunch of Utashila turrets. That was a really weird teleport. I am not entirely sure what to make of that. At least it scared the crap out of Black Phoenix, but now he doesn't actually need to walk away anymore. He can just continue doing his stuff. For some reason he isn't though. Robustness coming out with another experimental unit. This time it's a Ythotha. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's his first Ythotha, the infamous Chicken Walker. Look at those legs. Unfortunately, yeah, I don't think it quite qualifies as a chicken because there is no meat on those legs. Delicious, delicious chickens always have meat on them. It will be shortly joined by the Monkey Lord being constructed by Terarii in the base he has inherited from MSG. There is also a large clash on the southeastern flank. Finally, someone deciding to deal with all the spam that has constantly been coming in, constantly harassing this territory. Now there is a whole bunch of bricks to answer, and I don't think those bricks can be stopped by any of these artillery pieces or even the snipers. There is just not enough presence of Black Phoenix here. And I'm sure those bricks will be successful at pushing away all of these artillery pieces, at least all the way through the corner. Maybe they can get stopped there. A ton of attack bombers coming out from Robustness also, dropping bombs on the Monkey Lord and the Megalith. They aren't really doing much though, because, you know, those got plenty of health regeneration. Well, actually, never mind, only the Monkey Lord does. The Megalith is not regenerating health, but it will eventually gain veterancy from destroying all of those incoming artillery pieces, and then it will start regenerating, and then the bombers won't matter anymore. There is a strategic missile launcher being constructed by Terarii as we speak as well, being assisted by a ton of Tech 3 engineers. Wow, that is so many Tech 3 engineers, that is kind of crazy. Usually you only see Tick 1 or Tick 2 engineers in such large numbers, but looks like right now his build power is through the roof. Team 1's economy once again advancing ahead of Team 2. Team 2 just can't get a hold on this economy, can they? Highly unfortunate, because, you know, even despite all the efforts of that Colossus, they are now behind on eco once again. In terms of total mass accrued, which we haven't checked yet in this game, we can see that, yes indeed, Team 1 is ultra far ahead by 100,000 mass. Even despite all the nice efforts, it is still, ultimately, there is still an extremely large lead that Team 2 still has to catch up on. An air engagement happening as we speak. The fighters of Terarii try to shoot down those gunships out from Battlefront. I don't think they're going to be successful though, because there are way too many fighters from Battlefront as well as interceptors from Black Phoenix also taking shots from the opposing fighters, and yes indeed, it looks like Battlefront has won this engagement. And now the Colossus will perish by accomplishing precisely nothing due to the combined forces of the gunships as well as the newly built megalith. And the Monkey Lord will of course meet the same fate, because there is nothing protecting that anymore. No bouncers, no no flak, no anything. So yes, the Monkey Lord will die for nothing here as well. The Filthy, however, the Filthy is still healthy, is still advancing, supporting this cohort of bricks here. But now it looks like the broadswords will get on their case as well, and also destroy them. So overall, an extremely large mass donation from Team 2 to Team 1, which will further, no doubt, increase the mass lead that Team 1 is currently experiencing, and taking full advantage of by constructing megaliths, as well as a whole bunch of other nastiness everywhere. For example, check this out. It's a beetle, a soul ripper, a majestic beast of absolute unlimited power that is currently being produced by Battlefront, no doubt to capitalize on the air advantage, or capitalize on the air advantage that they've got from, you know, destroying all of the fighters of Terarii that formerly also belonged to MSG. The Seraphim artillery, however, being highly successful at sneaking through the battle lines of Team 1 and still managing to do some damage, you know, damaging those generators dangerously close to being destroyed. Now, however, there is a megalith blocking their path, as well as a whole bunch of light assault bots, which, yes, in case you didn't know, light assault bots are an extremely great counter to artillery pieces, because once the light assault bots get close, which they can do easily because they're super fast, once the light assault bots get close, the artillery can't even shoot them anymore, and also their speed allows them to easily avoid the shots of the artillery pieces. Not quite the case here. You can see the two poor bots perishing for nothing, but I'm sure that, you know, nobody will really mind. A strategic launch has been detected out from Terarii. Interestingly enough, Robustness also has a nuclear launcher of his own, not charging it very well. I'm pretty sure he's also mass stalling as it is happening. Yes indeed, he is mass stalling, so that makes charging up your nuke launcher extremely hard. The nuke, however, is going straight for the two commanders of both Black Phoenix and Battlefront, and I'm not entirely sure that is a very good decision, because ultimately they don't even destroy the Tech 3 air factory of Robustness, and the commanders can just walk, Battlefront, and the commanders can just walk right back in and basically keep doing whatever they were doing. An air engagement happening over the base of Robustness. It looks like, oh yes, the Soul Ripper has been completed and is now attacking Robustness directly. There are Tech 3 anti-air turrets being constructed everywhere to ensure that the Soul Ripper dies before it can do any more damage to Robustness. The gunships, the broadsword gunships, are also in the area, approaching from a different side. The nuke launcher is somehow still alive, and amongst all of this nonsense, the commander of Robustness is getting closer and closer to death, dropping below 6,000 health, already 5,000 health, already almost 3,000 health as I was speaking, just focusing the shields very wisely in order to ensure that the gunships can keep bombarding them, but no. Ultimately, all the gunships get shot down, and now there will be a shield constructed on top of both the nuke launcher and the commander. And that means he is relatively safe for now. And now it's Team 1's turn to donate mass to Team 2, in the form of this majestic Soul Ripper that is now in the earth and cannot be recovered by them anymore. A Fat Boy, meanwhile being constructed by Black Phoenix, you know, the Fat Boy we saw from a long time ago, is now advancing, bombarding the positions of the southern positions of Terarii. It's not advancing too quickly, however there is another problem going out. There are 2 Awasa bombers being constructed by both Battlefront and Black Phoenix, and they are making a beeline for the commander of Terarii, dropping 2 bombs at once. There is a ton of sand launchers here, but it's not entirely clear if those are going to do anything, because yes, now they've been almost destroyed by these 2 bombs, and even though there are some fighters of Terarii in the area, there are way more fighters out from Battlefront. The second pass will no doubt kill the commander of Terarii, and now this is becoming a serious problem, because now the last survivor is Robustness, as he is being focused by a Megalith as we speak, and he dies. As the Megalith itself was about to die, the last shot of the Megalith clips the commander of Robustness, and with that, the game is over. Notice, by the way, how this agricultural center still hasn't been reclaimed. What? Just a fun fact for you. The game is over, and here we are. Nice one, right? Yes, Terarii is saying how Robustness is useless, and Terarii himself is a noob. So, I suppose he has a point. The nuclear launcher is still somehow managing to survive, but it looks like, yes, it ultimately didn't matter because it never got to fire at all, and even now, it's only about 30–40% charged. So yes, congratulations to Battlefront, Black Phoenix, Rezy-Noob, Ayahuasca Dest, and Robogear for winning this amazing game of Supreme Commander Forged Alliance, being played and watched using the Forged Alliance Forever client. So if you're interested to see more, definitely like the video, leave a comment down below, and maybe even subscribe to the channel. I promise you won't regret it, because I also play a whole bunch of other interesting games that you might have never heard of. But yes, with that, I will be signing off for now. So thank you all once again so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day or night. But now it's time for me to go. So goodbye, take care everybody, and see you soon.